It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
This next question, Brian, is from the Chaos Bridge.
Ooh, Chaos
Sounds
Bridge.
like a pretty awful bridge to be on.
That sounds like, man, they're playing some, that's a video game handle right there.
I was thinking like a death metal band or something like that.
Well, that too.
Or maybe like an emo metal band. All right, here's the question.
Tell me you live in the Music City without telling me you live in the Music City.
I am 23. My wife is 28. I want to retire at 45.
Woo.
Of my $75,000 income, I save 8% to my 401k, and then my company matches 100% up to 4%. So that's 12% total going to the 401k. I then max out my Roth, and then I do $1,000 a month into my brokerage account, my after-tax account. Am I on track? All right, while you're doing, I know you got to do some math over there. So here's what he says. He said, hey, I'm young. I'm 23. I only want to be in this whole working thing for about 20 years, and then I'm out. I want to be part of the FIRE movement. Am I on track? Am I saving enough? Well, if you run through the mathematics here, he's got 12%, plus he's putting $6,000 in a Roth, plus he's putting $12,000 in a brokerage account. You add all that up into like $75,000 of income. That's like a 35% savings rate.
Yeah.
And so I think his question is if I want to be FIRE, is 35% enough? Am I on track? Am I thinking about the right things? Or what things am I not thinking about to actually be able to retire early, to leave the workforce early?
First of all, 23, having a 35% plus savings rate and investment rate, incredible. Just take kudos on that. I would, first of all, I say make sure, because I think it's important, 23 to, both you and your wife are in your 20s, that you are building out not just this great big beautiful tomorrow that you're thinking, hey, 45, I'm just going to live like a miser all through my 20s and my 30s because I'm going to live like no one else in my 40s. The problem with that is just don't get through those 2 decades and miss all the sweetness of being in your 20s and then, of course, all the things that happen in your 30s. So make sure you're balancing that fulfillment. That's what the 25% savings rate, the aspirational goal that we put out there, is also to free you to feel comfortable spending money and building those blossoming memories. So that's why we put that. But it is more of a traditional retirement. So it does mess things up when you have, or it changes it. It alters. Mess is a negative word, but it alters it when you are part of the FIRE movement, because you do have a situation where it's a little different. So I would reassess and say, okay, I'm saving 35 plus. How does my cash flow feel? Do I feel like I'm building up all these memories? I'm doing that bedazzled basic life that Brian and Bo are always talking about. But I still have money left over? Then yeah, you could kick it up, because I will tell you, FIRE, it's not uncommon for FIRE people, especially at age 45, to have to go above 40%.
I'm about to say 40, 50%.
And the reason, and this is why, is because so much changes in life between your 20s and your 40s. Because are you going to have kids? I mean, kids are expensive. They're going to have things. You have to also cover all your healthcare costs between, that mid 40s all the way up to 65. There's a lot of uncertainty there. You don't know, back to the kids' education. You don't know what your life and your cost of housing and everything else is around you. There's just so many things that will change, that it's going to require you to have a monstrous savings rate to be able to leave it for 45. Because realize, a lot of people, we talk about the 4% rule. When we're talking about 4% rule, the way when the Trinity study was done, that was a 30-year retirement, and it was counting on the volatility back then. And look, when we talk about having equities over 50%, the number actually has been revised a few times, where it's actually probably for a traditional person over 65, it could be like 4.5%. Sure. But for somebody who's 45 years old, you're not going to have a 30-year retirement. You're going to have a retirement that could be 50 years, 60 years. I mean, this is a long retirement that we're talking about. So that's going to push that safe withdrawal rate down below sub 4%. So that puts a lot of pressure on you.
I'm trying to think through, Brian, how much, because I've been hanging out with you for a long time now, how much I've seen your life change over the last 20 years, right? Like, we've changed locales where we live. We've changed, kids have gotten older. Kids have entered onto the scene, all this stuff. One of the things that I think is really hard, especially for someone who's trying to check out at 45, there's a lot of things that just still aren't answered yet. And at 23, it's really difficult to control for some of those variables. Where do I want to live? What will be going on in the world where I live? Will my family situation be a certain way? So I think that it's a great goal to shoot for. But if you are truly FIRE, at least in our experience, it has to be one of those things that you are constantly holding the edge of that knife. For our clients who have done this and been part of this, it's like we have a plan in place, but the necessity to do a plan assessment and revisit and revise is almost more so because there are so many other factors you have to control for. In a traditional retirement, you kind of know a lot of stuff. You know if the kids are out of the house, if they're off the payroll, if they're self-sufficient. You kind of know where you're going to live, what your lifestyle is going to be like. In your 40s, I just think it's probably harder to nail those exact variables down, especially over like a 40-year retirement.
And Chaos, your situation is different. I'm just going to give the experience share of myself and the fact that when I was 22, started my career as a CPA, I had the goal of leaving the workforce at 50. I was excited. I know. I'm not paying.
Team, buckle
Don't
up.
worry, team. Don't worry. But that was the goal at 50 because I knew I was a financial mutant. I knew I was going to be saving at a very aggressive rate. But what's interesting is I'm amazed because it hit me as you were talking through life changes and things. Like today, by the way, coincidentally, today is my oldest daughter's last day of high school.
Yeah.
So it's just there's so many things. And 22-year-old Brian could not have known all the things that were going to come my way. And now I look at with what I'm doing, and I'm like, I can't retire. I mean, I love this. I'll probably be doing this until I'm hopefully, God willing, past 70. Because I love doing this. But that's not to say that Chaos isn't going to truly check out at 45. I'm just saying, give yourself the grace to save aggressively. I love that you're saving and investing aggressively, but find what that limit. Make sure that you still are also paying respect to building the memories, those blossoming memories. And if you find that already at that 35% is squeezing the life out of that, where it's causing marital strife and other things in your life where it's stressful, then maybe keep it where it's at or even back it down. But if you find there's still money laying around at the end of the month, then okay, go ahead and accelerate it because it gives you options. Because that's what money is. It is the ability. It's a tool only, and it just gives you more flexibility, more options. But I want to make sure you understand you only get one good ride on this, this planet that we are of Earth, that you got to make sure you enjoy your life and enjoy each decade that you're actually here.
Love it.